Okay, so I am ready to apply these with the heat. Now you can use a regular iron or you can use a heat press like the one I have here. The thing to know about any heat transfer vinyl that you use is check with the manufacturer to find out what the heat setting is supposed to be, the pressure, the length of time you're supposed to heat it, and whether or not you're supposed to peel this transfer tape off when it's hot or when it's cold. Those things can affect the way things turn out. This is, I believe, a Sizer or Scissor, I never know how to say that word, product, and their website says to heat it at 300 degrees for 10 or 15 seconds and to peel the tape off when it's warm. So that is what I'm going to do. I have my two little pieces for the two, I'm making two bows, two little center pieces. And you want to get some heat on there just to pull out any kind of moisture. Sorry, I had some learning issues when I first got this. Anyway, there's some stuff stuck to it, but it's not going to affect my project right now. You want to put some heat on the ribbon to pull out any moisture, get out any wrinkles. You do that for like 3 seconds, so here I go. 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. That pulls out the heat, the moisture, and then you're going to put on your heat transfer vinyl onto your thing. And again, I'm having to do this with one hand because I'm too cheap to buy a tripod. Ooh, my daughter is here and she's offering to hold the camera. So I'm going to let her hold the camera, and look, now I have two hands. How exciting is that? Okay, so then you place it on there. You want to make sure it's centered properly. These pieces are going to be in the back of your bow, so I put it in the center. And then this is a Teflon sheet. It came with my heat press. Again, if you're using a regular iron, you may have one of these, or you may just use an ironing cloth, whatever you're going to use. But you want to put something between the heat source and the transfer tape so that it doesn't melt to your heat source. Okay, so that was 10 seconds. Actually, my heat press is set for 320 instead of 300, and it says to peel warm. So look, I'm peeling the tape off. And then you just want to kind of make sure she's on there around the edges, make sure there's no extra. If there is extra, I would put this back down. If there is, if it didn't stick properly, then I would put the tape back on it and hit it again for another 5-10 seconds, okay? It's pretty indestructible. I have, probably done everything you could ever do to ruin this stuff and still haven't really ruined it. So there are my two center pieces. Next I'm going to work on my bow. Alright, so now I'm going to do the ribbon. My heat press is 15 inches wide, so I can only work on half of the bow at a time, which is actually kind of perfect because it keeps you from messing up. So I'm going to take the moisture out and wrinkles. And then I'm going to take one of my pre-cut, I don't remember which ones of these I wanted. I think I wanted this on the orange. My pre-cut side, vinyl that I'm putting onto the ribbon. And you want to center it as best you can. I'm really having some issues because I'm trying to look like I know what I'm doing. And then put your barrier on, and then you give it the real press. And in the interest of peeling warm, you want to be careful because this is hot. It's hot. But, well, there it is. Pretty neat, huh? And I'll do the other side. I save these because sometimes, depending on what you're doing, if I've done something with a lot of cutouts, sometimes I want to use that again. Sometimes I don't. Put a little heat on it. Put the other tail on. Go like this and a little bit more. And this is going to overlap on that pattern right there, but that's going to be in the center of the back of the bow. It's going to get tucked in the fold. You're never going to see it. The beeping's a little annoying, but my machine, I have never found a way to turn that off. Ow, wow, because now that's hot. Ah. And cut. You want to, next what you want to do is you want to cut your tails. I find it's easier to cut the tails before I fold it so that I can get in there. Once it's folded, sometimes it's harder to get in there. I fold mine this way because I want to line the edges of the ribbon up. And it's all dependent on the edge of the ribbon because I don't always cut it straight this way, so don't just worry about the corners matching. Worry about the edges of the ribbon. When you get it where you want it, you're going to cut straight from the corner into the center. And you'll get so that you don't have to measure these, but some people, what they do is they keep this piece to use on the other end so that they know exactly what the angle was. I'm not quite that exacting, so I just eyeball it. And then once you have trimmed that, you need to hit it with some flame to seal the ribbon. The grosgrain will unravel, and you want to be real careful because you don't want to set her on fire. But if you just lick it with the flame a little bit, you can feel a difference. There's like a little bit of an edge there now. It just sort of melts the ends so that they don't start fraying. They don't start doing that. Now comes the folding part, which is the part I am the weakest at. I get lucky, and sometimes they turn out perfectly, or sometimes they don't, and I really haven't found a foolproof system yet. But here's what I do. For whatever anal retentive reason, I like to cross the left one over the right one. I don't know why. And I like to line the tips up on the edge of whatever surface I'm working on. Because you want your tails to be not too short, not too long. And you want there not to be, see, like if I folded this one right now, I feel like there's going to be way too much bow and not enough tail. So I need to put my X up a little higher. And so, I don't know why, I don't know. As soon as I videotape myself folding, it's going to turn out lopsided. But you'll forgive me because you've been there. Okay, so you make a little X, you find the center of the bow, of the back of the bow, and you bring the center in right here and pinch it. You hold it like that. And then I start by folding backwards. Fold back, then forward, then back, then forward, then back, then forward. Some people say you're supposed to do that 3 times. I go as many times as I can, but here's the most important thing. When you are finished with your folding, you must, I think, push that forward. See that little? It needs to be folding forward at the very end because that's what gives it a cute front. And see, that tail looks a little short to me. Come here. I'm going to pull him out a little. See if I can fix it from here or if I have to start over. Okay. So now I've got him the way I like him. I'm going to take my zip tie and I'm going to put it in. I do this every single time. I slip it in so that the flat side is facing up. I curl him over the back. And then I look at the back and I have it like this. I put my hair tie in. I like these flat hair ties because I feel like they roll around less. Use whatever hair tie you like. I like to have my hair tie on the bottom of the bow, but I can fix that in just a minute. And then I cinch it up, but don't tighten it as far as it will go just yet because you might want to work it around a little. So I do it just enough that it'll hold the shape and not spring out, but that I can manipulate things a little bit in here, like putting my zip tie directly on the bottom. I also like to have this little nib like this so that when it sits on your hair, it helps hold the bow upright, perky, instead of laying backwards. I hate bows that lay backwards. Okay, so now I would just fix anything that you see in here. You can kind of twist it, you can kind of pull on it, you can do whatever you want. If you hate it, you cut this off, you start over, whatever. It's your bow, make sure you're happy with it. I am happy. I'm going to tighten it, ow, and break my watch in the meantime, and then cut your tail off. Be careful not to cut your bow. I have done that before in this part. You get in there, cut the bow. So the last step is to put the center on, and as you can imagine, that's where the hot glue gun comes. Do you hear that? That's my dog drinking water. It's a Labrador. Very thirsty. Okay, so I always cut, I never know how long to make my centers. I'm sure I could measure, but it really depends. Like if this is a glitter bow, the center's fatter, so I don't mind wasting a little bit on the ends. You don't want to, you want it to be the right length. So I'm going to trim this, and then I'm going to measure him around. You want it to overlap a little bit, but you don't want it to overlap around again and then be showing in the front, so you got to trim that. I think if I cut this where the vinyl ends, I should be good. So that's what I'm going to do. All right. I like to fold mine like this. I like to have this piece go on the bottom and then this piece go around and end at the bottom of the bow. Because I find when you're putting this on someone's ponytail, you have a tendency, if it is the other way, if this flap is left, if I do it this way, that gets hit all the time when you're putting the bow on and taking it off, and ultimately this is going to start to lift up and then it's going to come unglued. So I like to do it like that and then have this guy over here so that I have a smooth surface, no picky. So that's what I'm going to do. I turn him upside down. Ooh, got a new glue gun and this one leaks. Bummer. Okay. Put a little glue on him. Ow, wow, he gets hot. And stick him on. Just press and hold for a minute. Some people like to make sure there's glue going all the way in the front. I don't necessarily feel like you have to do that. I just kind of glue it. And of course I got my fingers all in it for demonstration purposes, just so you see that I burn myself too. And there it is, with a big glue ball hanging off of it. All right, so now I'm going to do the rest of these. Enjoy your bow making. Thanks for watching.